We'll be reading out your comments in the course of this live newscast. But remember, it is just a few minutes past 7. Time for The Way It Is as we dissect the weekend of politics. So Michael will be driving this conversation. The Way It Is up next.
Welcome back, and well, it is time for The Way It Is. This is where we weigh in on what has been happening politically speaking. And remember, this is not just a conversation for the studio, but you at home are welcome to participate or wherever you're watching from. And feel free to do so via Twitter. Our Twitter handles are going to be displayed as we continue. Also, we'll be opening up the phone lines and giving you an opportunity to weigh in on the subject matters, on what we're going to be discussing. But let's start with that question of the day. And this is to do with Moses Wetangula. Should Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula consider running for a second term, even as he eyes the Deputy Prime Minister position on the NASA lineup? Remember, he's one of the principals, and well, if NASA does win the August 8th elections, then what is proposed is going to be a Deputy Prime Minister on the power sharing deal that they came up with. But news coming in that he may be defending his senatorial position, and of course, we'd like to find out whether you, well, what you think about that. And let's now get into the studio. And nominated Member of Parliament, Dr. Oburu Oginga, has rejected an offer from the Orange Democratic Movement Party, ODM, to nominate him as the East Africa Legislative Assembly. In a statement sent to newsrooms, Raila Odinga's communications director says the party had considered nominating Dr. Oginga as he declined the offer and instead asked the party to nominate someone else who had been nominated, and it had been shot down by the Jubilee government last time. Dr. Oginga is expected to address the media today on the issue. Reports indicate that the Wiper Party has nominated Kalonzo Musyoka's eldest son, Kennedy Musyoka, amidst disquiet among members of the party. Kamkunji nominations parliamentary loser Simon Bogwa is rumored to be among those who will fill up the 5 slots reserved for Jubilee Party at the regional parliament. And we'll start with that as our point of debate this morning. But let me introduce the panel that we have this morning. And to my extreme left, we have Honorable Simba Arati, who is the Member of Parliament for Dagoretti North. Thank you for joining us this morning. Yeah. We also have Ambrose Weda, who is a lawyer. Thank you for coming too. Now, let's start right there. And your thoughts, Honorable Simba Arati, on, Dr. Oginga being nominated to be one of those who would fill the Iala seats soon after losing a nomination.
I want to, I want just to indicate that he has said that he's going indeed to address today the press. Mm-hmm. And there is nothing wrong if indeed he had been, appointed by the party to go to Yala.
Would it be viewed as, trying to give him a soft landing after losing?
It can't be viewed as, giving him a soft landing because there are a number of, you've just indicated, Honorable Council, his son also is getting it. Mm. It's not only even in NASA, we have seen it even in Jubilee, it's happening. Therefore, this purpose of the people who add value in the politics.
But surely one would ask the question that is it only family members who would add value? Out of the 40 or so million Kenyans that we have, would it just be a family thing for them to appoint them?
There is nothing like family here. There is also a wrong conception on members of one family via various seats. It has happened before. Dr. Oburu has been elected before. Raila has been in parliament also elected. It's not that it's given to them freely. It's for the hard work they have given to the party and the community as well.
Okay, but now, honestly, Simba Arati, when we look at Kalonzo's son, when we talk about hard work they've given, what indicators are we using here? I mean, think of it in terms of now the ordinary mwananchi, who's not in the enclaves of power, who does not have the privilege of that. I'm sure there are people who qualify.
For Dr. Kalonzo's son, I've just heard it from you and from the press here that indeed is due for nomination. but we have seen it. It's a practice which has been, entrenched into our politics in this country.
So do you agree with it? Are you okay with it?
Because it's a practice that has been there, and we have seen it. Today we are talking of even the president, the incumbent president. He comes from the family where the president was, the father was the president. Today is the president. Tomorrow you'll see his son coming up. We can't deny them those chances, including the president himself. He was nominated. He was nominated by Kanu then to Parliament. But it's a practice that which is there. I don't want to say is neither, is
so
good or bad.
What's your feeling about it? I'd like to know what does Simba Arati feel about it. Is it something you agree with? And I ask this on the basis of the fact that this is coming from NASA, who have said they're all-inclusive, they're not going to have anything to do with nepotism, regional balance. But now when we look at a nomination like this, one is left, with a question mark. There are questions left.
Personally, I want to put it that if they can put value, they can bring value into our politics, the daily politics in the country. Nothing is wrong about it.
Okay, that's your stand. Ambrose Weda.
I think Honorable Burudinga is, the limping big brother. Big brother who is limping, so you have to carry him every corner. So it forces the Honorable Raila Odinga to keep on carrying the brother whenever he loses here, he loses there. And to me, nothing would have been wrong except that it does not look tidy on the presidential candidate, especially after Honorable Burudinga had been given a nomination earlier after losing, and then taking into account his advanced stage. This is the time he should be sitting in the Luo Council of Elders. We have a Luo Council of Elders that advising the Luo people and his brother how to win the presidency, not coming in and taking the various lots that could have been used to attract other communities. But I really don't think he has just rejected it. My thinking is that he's eyeing the deputy governorship of Siaya County because he was very supportive of the current governor who actually got the ODM ticket. So chances that his friend will come in and say, become my deputy are very high. And I see he's playing hard, the way Kalonzo was playing hard and saying, my blood is ready, I want to be president. Kumbe was just shoving off people so that he becomes number 2. I think that's what Oburu is doing. When we come to Kalonzo's son, I really think Kalonzo has been very decent when it comes to his family members. He's not trying to push them everywhere, and you don't see them. Therefore, I really do not see anything wrong with that young man being given a platform to also launch himself into the country's politics, the international politics. There's a landing. Even our President Uhuru was given a landing by President Moi. So somehow, if your father is big, he gives you a landing. For Kalonzo's son, I think we'll make noise, but it is okay. But for Uburu, I don't see.
This comes at a time of a lot of political deal-making is happening before the elections. And we've just read a story here that Oburu Oginga has now withdrawn from the Iala race.
Yes.
But what follows is he now tells Jubilee to give that position to somebody else who who lost out in the nomination exercise. So already it's only being given to those who lost out. That it is clearly a soft landing. Is it being based on the credibility or the
No, it was. I said this is a limping elder brother that every corner is losing, and you are a younger brother. He can go to Honorable Raila's home and insist and say, as your elder brother, I want this. And back there, he has a voice. So that voice, you have to take care of it. That is why he has to be given something. That's why he was nominated last time. And even now, having lost in a way he lost, something has to be found for him. But I am saying he's not just rejecting because now he has become a pious man. I think, wait, you will hear him being a running mate for the Siaya governor. Those are chances.
Hopefully, I want to believe that when Dr. Buru comes out, will definitely indicate clearly why he declined it. But also it's good manners for him to have declined for another person who had lost it, for purpose of, what you are spelling out, that is one family affair. Wakili is just fine. Dr. Kalonzo's son. There isn't. Yes, this is an elderly guy, this is a young person, but if they can be able to put value into the ideologies we believe in as a party, I see nothing wrong.
But with Oburu, Simbarati, wouldn't one feel like we are trying to recycle what has already been rejected by the people? If the people do not feel he has brought value in that particular area, why would we want to recycle, as it were? Because again, we cannot also ignore the fact that he's not a young man. He's no spring chicken.
Precisely, he's not a young man. But too, what we want to agree is that all is gold. You know, there is value they add into our systems. And these, I want to point out that I want to just go back. You know, let us not lose memory here. Our president, President Uhuru, he was rejected by the people of Gatundu. But then he was brought in. Today he's the president. Yes, we may not have so much in terms of Dr. Oburu, you know, either becoming, either being elected next time. But my honest opinion is that there is nothing wrong in having him in the systems.
In the system. All right, you wanted to respond to that, especially old is gold. Do you agree old is gold?
Which gold? In fact, if you are talking about value, then you will not mention Oburu. When Jaramogi was alive and struggling in the position, Oburu was working for government as a planning director coast. And he never wanted to touch anything to do with opposition. He only came to life after Jaramogi died, and he said, this is Mzee's seat, let him inherit it. So he's been inheriting it until people rejected. There is no value that day, other than being Raila's brother. Remember our current president was given a landing. He was a young man, vibrant. For our big brother Oburu, it's just a liability on Raila's shoulder that he has to carry along. There's a joke going around in the village that after he loses, he carries rat to Raila's home, and he tells Raila, if you don't give me a place, I'll drink this. I'll drink this rat.
That's a joke out there.
That's a joke. It's a joke.
That's a joke out there.
I'm not saying he does it.
So it's in jest, yeah.
He goes there, he says, Amolo, if you don't give me a positive answer, I'm drinking this. Then Amolo says, I will do something. So him declining this is good, and I know he'll spring up something. He's not just going home. That is guaranteed. But the young Kalonzo, wacha kijana, let him come. Let's not kill him before he even stands on the
And
table.
again, I guess if, like you mentioned, if he's in a family where there is influence and they're able to put a good word for him,
yes,
everybody would
After all,
appreciate
Kalonzo has been out for 5 years, just dancing out. He needs, as he prepares, because this last defeat that NASA is going to face may wipe all of them out. And Kalonzo needs to introduce the younger Kalonzo. He has had a checkered career.
Not necessarily that there is the last defeat, because indeed we are certain that NASA will send our brothers in Jubilee home. With the combination of the forces we have gotten, you can be sure that Kalonzo will be the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. Of course, it's good, as Wakili is putting it, is that the young man, let him grow, also be introduced into politics. Given that also the fathers contributed immensely into this country's politics as well, the affairs of this country.
Okay, let's move on to something else. And just a quick reminder, from wherever you are, you're welcome to participate. Do let us know what your thoughts are. And so far, that is to do with the Iyala appointment. But of course, like we've mentioned, we're waiting for a press conference that's going to be given by Oburu Oginga. And that is going to be around 11 a.m. And right here on KTN News, we certainly will be bringing that to you and letting you know what his statement is going to be and what he has to say. But let's now look at something different, and the food prices. This, of course, is something that has come up severally, and now it has become, as the panel we had earlier mentioned, politicized, as it were. But at the end of the day, the Kenyan Mwananchi wants to walk into a supermarket, walk into the market, and afford foodstuff. Basic commodities have become unaffordable. Ambrose Weda, what is it that the Jubilee government can do in 2 months that they have not done in 4 years?
I think when it comes to food prices, let us appreciate that. Let's take for number one, maize. The country itself faced a drought, and therefore we had a shortage. We didn't produce enough. Unfortunately, the same problem prevailed in Uganda. The same problem prevailed in Tanzania. Therefore, the additional maize we are using does not come from Uganda now, and Tanzania also closed their border. We therefore have a huge shortfall. This drought, I remember about a month ago, was coming from Nyandarua, and the usual foodstuffs that you'd get, potatoes, carrots, so on, are not there along the road because of the drought. As a consequence, milk prices, maize prices, all this have gone up. What can be done, number one, which is being done, is importation. If you take, for instance, sugar, which now I'm well versed in, we are having a shortage of sugar even at the international market. It is not there. It's not there in the Comesa. It's not there in Tanzania. It's not there within the Comesa region. Then it is not there in the international market. Therefore, you have to scramble for the little sugar that is there to buy and import. What, therefore, government is going to do, which Parliament will do, is to remove taxation on some of them, to allocate funds to subsidize the very basic commodities like maize. In other words, you remove all taxation, you buy it and almost distribute it for free, as we are waiting for this current harvest, which is coming in July, so that anybody who thinks is going to go to get power through rumor-mongering over the maize prices will be disappointed.
But even as we're waiting for this harvest to come, let's talk long-term problems, because we cannot have these subsidies forever. What long-term solutions can we have to this problem?
The long-term solutions, my sister, would be if we do irrigation. Otherwise, as long as we are relying on rain-fed agriculture, nature, and people are subdividing their land and adding wives and daughters, and the land is becoming smaller and waiting for rain, and we are not praying fervently, so the rain fails, we will still continue having these problems throughout. Countries that have succeeded because they are doing
Then isn't this a fake promise then when the president comes out and says we're going to deal with this? Because really, it is not something that can be dealt with overnight. There is no overnight solution.
The first step, I think, the Jubilee administration, they had the Galana. They said, we want to do irrigation here. And it has started. It has its own setbacks. But we are moving. That can show you that these are people who have a vision where we know if we move in that direction, we'll be able to have a solution. If other leaders were to join and say, there were mistakes here, but continue improving, instead of just criticizing and propaganda, we'll be having direction. You look at a country like Israel, there's no rain. They are purely depending on
which speaks
irrigation.
a lot to the planning. Let me hear from Honorable Simbarati. And also, as you weigh in on this, what is NASA's solution? Because we are in a political space where we have politicians throwing jibes at each other, but not giving solutions.
I want just to point out, it's unfortunate that we have Jubilee in power. It's unfortunate.
According to NASA?
No, not according to every Kenyan. Yesterday, it happened that I decided, yes, okay, you are a Kenyan, but I want you fall under the Jubilee.
So you don't see every
but yesterday I walked into supermarkets. There is no even one packet of flour, ugali flour. Unfortunately, is that this is a government which promised us that is going to irrigate 1 million acres of land in terms of food production. If you check what happened in Garana Kulalu, they have only done 10,000 acres. And the other day they were showing us they have come out with some flour to subsidize in the market. Whereas we know that the government itself refused to give the 7 billion out of the 14 billion Israel was giving them to realize the project of Galana Kulalu. It's a government which is busy stealing from the Kenyans, forgetting the basics which were supposed to be given to the Kenyans themselves. Now that we are headed to election, I don't know if it's a design that, yes, make sure there is a scarcity of flour in the market and the prices, so that now in another 2 months towards the election, you'll bring bills in Parliament to reduce it, to entice the voters. It can't happen.
All right, Honorable Simbarati,
in 2 months.
That you've well painted the picture as it is. Solutions. As NASA being a government in waiting, rather than being waiting to be in government, the difference here being, what is the plan that NASA would have?
My brother, first, we want to put in place proper, laws governing this country in terms of food production. you realize that even the fertilizer which was given out, it was not fertilizer. It was some stones which were grinded here at Ruaraka. Save for this lady called Esther Kimani, who closed a number of those factories which were grinding stones, and those stones were applied as fertilizer in the farms. What we are saying is that Jubilee, unlike NASA, as we are prepared to salvage this problem, the problem that has been brought by our brothers. Yes, we are in the same country, but also we can't hesitate to say it as it is, that Jubilee has put us in the current fix we are in. Mm-hmm. And the only way is that is to remove the bad leadership.
Okay.
That's the solution.
In Parliament, we have both Jubilee and opposition members of Parliament. What input have they had in the current crisis?
Precisely, it's hardly a month ago when they brought the waiving off of the taxes of maize. The question is, where are these maize? They were telling us it's coming. It has taken another 2 months down the line.
No, but in all fairness, at the point where the waiver was put, it takes a while for that to take place. It can't just happen overnight. The maize would not
No, the sinister motive we were reading from it is that they wanted to see the crisis the way it is, for them to come in and to reap
so
from
as
the
far as
poor
you're concerned,
Kenyans.
this is a creation of
It's a creation of
All right,
Jubilee.
let's hear from Andrew as well.
I think when a sitting member of Parliament, one who is in Parliament, talks like that, my heart bleeds.
Why?
Please do not insult the Kenyan farmers. Do not think they are so stupid that they do not know the difference between stones and fertilizer. We use this fertilizer as Sony sugar to grow sugarcane. We know it. The farmers know it. We have over 30,000 farmers. If you gave them stones, as you are talking about, I think, please, don't do that. That's number one. Number two, just say when you go to your supermarket, the big people's supermarket. Yesterday, I was here at Gateway Mall, just there. There was too much maize flour. It is only that the price is still 120, 130, and that's where people are crying. And that is where the Parliament has to come in to allow legislation to reallocate funds so that there is subsidy. Number three, you have been asked for solution. Tell us. At least the Jubilee government has said we needed to irrigate, and we have irrigated 10, 20,000. Now, your side, all your presidential candidate is saying is that when they come in, they will grab people's houses, force them to take rents which are not commercially viable. In fact, they are going to interfere with private ownership of things by dictating. I saw your presidential candidate, Raila Odinga, say, I will come and force landlords to take this amount of rent, knowing very well that there are some people who are not even paying rent.
Hold it there as we also hear from what Kenyans have to say. We have Dan from Nairobi on the line. Dan, good morning, and thank you for calling in. What's your question or comment?
Good morning, and I want to say this first. The very first primary responsibility of any government is to feed its citizens. And if you in government and you cannot be able to feed your citizens, then it means you don't understand yourself and you don't know what you do. I know Michael is a family person. The first primary responsibility of Michael in studio is to ensure the children are able to eat well in the house, just as it is with government. Today we are being told about a supplementary budget that is going to be taken to Parliament. Ask yourself, Ambrose Weda, what is this that is going to be new that this government was unable to do a fortnight ago when they read the budget? People keep on talking about infrastructure. People are talking about the standard gauge railway. But remember, Kenyans are asking for simple things. Are we able to afford the cost of bread? Are we able to afford the cost of unga? Because how does the standard gauge railway get to help me as a citizen in this country if I cannot be able to feed my family? Remember, the Jubilee government enjoys the tyranny of numbers in Parliament. And if they wanted to change anything, just the same way they did with the IBC, when they wanted to change what was negotiated with the court then, they can do it simply in a minute. And therefore, to me, Ambrose Weda, this government has completely failed. They don't understand what Kenyans are yearning for, they are looking for. I got to understand the deputy president talking about transforming this country, but you cannot talk about transforming a country at the expense of the cost of living that is up there, that Kenyans cannot be able to afford. Look at the level of borrowing in this country. I mean, Ambrose Weta, you're living in this country. What is happening? Is this helping Kenyans? I mean, no.
All right, many thanks. That is Dan from Nairobi. We'll be addressing your concerns, Dan. Definitely a lot of frustration there. Let's also hear from Limu, who is calling in from Nairobi. Good morning. What's your question or comment?
Good morning for the panel today. I want to make a contribution. My name is Limo. In the issue of food security, I want to be realistic. Mheshimiwa there sits down there exactly as Weda says. He legislates. He makes sure that Kenyans must be fed if he has to. But he comes here and criticizes the government, and he's also one of the guys who's supposed to do a good job in the past. Now, let me come to the issue of the farmer. The other day, the government released 1 million bags of maize. But the biggest mistake, in my opinion, what the government did is releasing this 1 million maize to the millers. They left the small miller. My point is they could flood this maize to a small miller, but they sold it to the biggest millers. The biggest millers have become the problem of Kenya because they have all the same maize and create shortage in the market. Because if you sell it to big millers, what they will do is buy the same maize and keep it for themselves. I could urge the government to flood the maize to the commoner. You know, the guy who can have a small miller, mwenye ako Kibera, mwenye ako Kangware, mwenye ako wapi, ndio hii mahindi inakuwa cheaper. Come to issues of sugar and others, same thing. There's, people play games, almost election, and create such shortages that, probably it's a political game. I don't know. But farmer today, farmers work very hard. Now, even now, I'm a farmer too. I've planted maize. I've planted bomber roads. We work very hard in the ground. But I challenge Mheshimiwa to bring legislation, support the government for now. Mr. Arati, don't criticize all the time. Do something about it.
Thank you, Limo. Point noted. We move on.
We have Madenge on the line also calling in from Mombasa. Madenge, talk to us. What's your question or comment? Madenge, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. What's your question or comment?
Contribution. Habari zenu?
Na?
Habari zenu?
Nzuri, Madenge. Endelea.
Okay. Mimi nilikuwa nataka kuambia namna hii. Unajua tusifanye matani ama mzaa ama siasa wakati wa chakula. Unajua hakuna vita kubwa katika hii dunia. Wacha vita ya bunduki, wacha vita ya nyuklia, wacha vita nyingine. Vita kubwa katika dunia hii ni njaa. Chakula. Mtu asipokula anakuwa ni mtu mbaya sana. Sasa hapo mimi nikiona kama Weda anakuja hapa anasema sijui Jubilee sijui. Unajua hiyo kitu yote hawatakusikiliza. Watu watataka kujua serikali ambayo iko hapo ndio haijawapatia chakula, ungo umefika 180. Na wakati wa Kibaki hukufika huko, wakati wa Moya hukufika huko. Bado watalaumu serikali ambayo iko sahihi na iliwa promise katika manifesto kama chakula itakuwa ni rahisi. Kwa hiyo usiweke siasa. Wewe kama umekuja kutetea Jubilee, utapewa chako, utaweka mfukoni, utakula. Lakini mimi binadamu ambao niko hapa chini bado nitakuwa na tabu. Asante.
All right, thank you very much. And, your calls are still being taken, so if you have something to say, please do let us know. Let's start with you, Honorable Simba Arati. You've been put to the corner there, and the challenge is you are a member of parliament.
I just want to agree that all the commentators, actually the callers in. First, I want to respond. You don't expect people from Kawangware to go to Syokimau to buy flour from there. Like my brother is saying, he says in Syokimau, therefore he saw some supermarkets there with the flour. I can tell you, today, yes, somebody will be having money in the pocket, but even getting that flour is hard. The other question is, I sit in the Agriculture Committee, where we know the government has refused completely to give in money to when the donors come in, they expect you as the government first to give your share before they give their money. The money for Galana Kulalu was reduced from 14 billion to 7 billion. That project, it's only producing 1,000 acres of of maize which is planted there. Therefore, we don't expect. The only business I want every person, every Kenyan, be it in Mombasa, in Kiambu, Kisii, Migori, Eastern, is that if you don't provide for them, we can't make a joke of the stomach here. The stomach is a very, it doesn't have boundaries. You can't say that you are in Jubilee or you are in NASA.
Yes,
it's about feeding the stomach. Therefore, the only thing we want to tell, the other thing is that Jubilee, they have been busy stealing from Kenyans. Basically, that is it. Their business is that only scandals. They are stealing big monies, not even small. If this money they had put it into agriculture, today, even into Garana Kulal, we'd have gotten food for the Kenyans.
All right. As much as you defend Jubilee,
yes.
and there's even a caller there who said, at the end of the day, it's how much or the pocket that matters. And the truth of the matter is, the harsh reality is prices for food and basic commodities, we talk about basic food, is very high. The fact of the matter is, Jubilee is a sitting government. The fact of the matter is, the buck stops with the government.
Correct. I think also let us not worship our stomachs too much, and then also blame people too much. No. In fact, our God tells us differently. Tells us as occasionally you also fast. The food prices, true, is high. Blaming it entirely on Jubilee is wrong, because that is dishonest.
But
we faced a drought. A drought that has created shortage, not only here in Kenya, in Uganda, in Tanzania. The reason why we are having a high cost of sugar prices is that we do not have sugar even in the world market because of drought. These facts we must accept, so that when measures are being taken, those measures are taken financially, and it is Parliament to allocate money. How do they allocate it? They do a supplementary budget by removing money already allocated for other projects to be put back to subsidizing food. I thought a sitting member of Parliament here would have been saying today, we are going to rein in on Jubilee, we are going to remove money from here and here and here to put it. I think that the way forward for our country is irrigation. So when somebody was reducing the irrigation budget from 14 billion to 7 billion, I would have had Simba Arati and the entire Code fraternity making noise. You people also just went to bed. Now you can see where we are. Moving forward, after this will end after about a month or two with the rains that are here, and God is on our side. Soon this one will end. But we need long-term policy. If you go back to Parliament, please, irrigation is the way. Support any government, whether it is Jubilee or NASA or which one, so that we have sufficient food supply.
Speaking of these long-term solutions, because we also had Limo calling in from Nairobi. He's a farmer himself, and Arati, you sit in the Agriculture Committee. One of the long-term solutions would be to cushion farmers from things such as drought, what we're experiencing now. And Limo says, in terms of cushioning farmers, the smaller farmers are being left out, and most of the incentives are being given to the large-scale farmers. And really, focusing on the small-scale farmer is what is going to make a difference in the country. So talk to us about what the government and Parliament really can do to cushion these small farmers.
The bumper harvest we had from Bura, Bura Tana irrigation, you saw it went west, simply because of our poor, for the poor man down there, could not be able, his maize could not be gotten into the cereals. Basically, yes, I want to agree, but it's dangerous for us to see in a system where I want to, this one, Wakil is here, he'll go even to court. I'll tell you, people in Ruarak, some people were grinding stones, putting as fertilizer, until there was an intervention from KEFIS. That's the time, we got some sanitary bit of it. Even the fertilizer which came from the outside the country, the fertilizer which was, condemned at the port. It's a fertilizer some people who had good connection within the systems are brought in, which actually cautioned in the issues of, now it's not issues of drought. We can't blame it all solely on drought. We are saying it's a system which is loose.
All right, let's take a call from Wycliffe Otieno, who is in Kisumu. Good morning, Wycliffe. Thank you for calling. To your comment or question.
Yes, boss. Thank you for the panelist. I'm calling from Kisumu. Hello.
Yes, go right ahead.
I'm calling from Kisumu.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm just asking Mr. Weda if the president can pay, in fact, he paid Anglo-Leasing 1.4 billion without even passing through the parliament. Why, with these powers, why could even order chakula even from Brazil, then bring to Kenya, and then give Kenyans a proper accountability? Why was it just still waiting for this, all these circles going to parliament, calling? The president has powers. He has powers. He can do something which can help the common wananchi.
All right.
It's all in Kenya, where when something, the president is, there's something happening. There's something behind this thing. We are Kenyans. We are watching what is taking place. We are watching. We are not stupid. Why is it now coming with this?
Thank you, Wycliffe. Ambrose, whether do you want to answer that one?
He's already complaining about the Anglo-Leasing payments, that something was wrong with it. That's why I say, even he did it, would he expect the president to walk with Arungu to Treasury and order payment? It would not. The way the law is, the parliament has to appropriate. And that is what the president has said on Tuesday. Panarati, Tuesday, please allocate my billion so that food is brought quickly and we can eat back ugali. I love ugali myself, and now that is very expensive. Although me, I can afford, but I know that is.
There are many who cannot. And maybe let's move that conversation forward, because Tuesday is the day we're waiting for. What should we expect from you, Simba Arati, that you're going to do in regards to the Kenyan Mwananchi who's complaining?
I'm expecting that Jubilee will use the tyrant of numbers in thinking positively, on this. But then, it's too late. It's too late, because what they are doing, and I want to say this is a calculated move in terms of make sure there is no flour on the shelves of supermarket. The sugar is not there. So they give it. They think Kenyans are stupid. Give them in another 1 month or 2 months to election so that you can induce them. Kenyans are tired. I can tell you, they cannot be moved by the share by passing, because you're telling us tomorrow on Tuesday, actually that's tomorrow, that we are going to pass a bill in Parliament to reduce the prices of commodities. But then, how long will it take? It can't be immediate. Therefore, we want to warn Jubilee that yes, this is your last days. Do what you want. Come up with all cosmetics on caroling on how you're going to improve the economy, which you have failed to do in another 4 years.
In the last 4 years, you still haven't told us what you do.
Commitment for what Kenyans are expecting in Parliament tomorrow, especially as a parliamentarian. But let's hear from Paul Mwangi, calling in from Juja. Paul, what's your question or comment?
Habari zenu?
Nzuri sana.
Yeah, this Mwangi. Na ile kitu ya kwanza nataka kusema ni kwamba tuna mtu anaitwa Kalonzo, tuna mtu anaitwa Raila. Kitu ya kwanza ni kugawana hizi kazi. Kama saa hii unasikia huyu anataka brother yake aingie mahali fulani, huyu anataka ndugu yake aingie mahali fulani, na mwingine anataka mtoto wake. Tukitoka hapo, niambie Simba Arati ya kwamba kila wakati akiingia pale hawezi ongea kama Mkenya, huwa anaongea like a politician. Hata mambo yenye haitajikani kuwa na politics, yeye anaongea maneno ya politics. Na ni lazima akiingia hapo awe anaongea kama Mkenya, mtu mwenye ako na haja ya kusaidia Kenya, lakini si mtu ako pale atetee chama yake. Ni vizuri awe akiingia hapo, anakaa hapo aongee kama Mkenya. Maana huwa wanasema ya kwamba Kenyans wamechoka na serikali ya Jubilee. Okay, kwani wana Jubilee supporters, they are not Kenyans. Sisi tunanunua unga kama wengine, tunanunua shukari kama wengine, na tunafanya kazi zetu na tunaendelea na maisha. Kwa hivyo tunaelewa kila kitu yenye inaendelea katika Kenya inaendelea kwa nini. Hata kama hiyo maneno itatengenezwa, lazima tujue ya kwamba hawa wanasa they are Kenyans and we are Kenyans. Si kila wakati wanasema ati Wakenya wamechoka na serikali ya Jubilee. Kwani sisi hatujachoka na siasa hizi duni za pesa 8? Tumechoka hata sisi. Hiyo kitu ya mwisho nitasema ni hii. Tunataka watu ambao watakaa chini, waongee kama Wakenya, watetee Wakenya. Kama si Barati, parliament hakuna kitu huwa anafanya. Kazi yake ni hizi politics ndogo. Lazima ajue vile atafanya kama kiongozi wa taifa ya Kenya.
Sasa, asante sana Paul. That is Paul Mwangi calling in from Juja.
I think if you allow me, there's one
briefly
one question. You have been asked. Tomorrow, as a member of parliament, we have a crisis. The Jubilee administration has said, we have called you, we want reallocation of funds. I thought you'd be saying, I expect to see this reallocation, I expect to see this, we expect this explanation, and we will approve this. Just raising your hands in the air and saying, tyranny of numbers, we are going to remove these people. We want to eat Wednesday, we want to eat ugali. So, and it is in your hands, not even President Uhuru's hands. Yours, direct President Uhuru and the minister to reallocate.
Closing comments, very briefly.
I don't know. Wakil will have told us that they have some stores of maize they are waiting for them to supply by Wednesday for us to come down. But I want to point out that we can't forgive Jubilee. We can't forgive Jubilee for the current fix they have put us into. In terms of, it's the time even children, they're going back to school. I've seen schools, they're closing because they could not meet they've
actually requested that parents pay up their fees because the prices are ridiculous. We'll have to wind up because
what do you expect of such a kind of a government in power? Therefore, what you're saying, yes, tomorrow we will do our best to see, we pass the law.
Well, I can guarantee you this, Honorable Simba Arati, tomorrow we're going to have our eyes on you to see what you are going to do. Next week, should you come on set, we'll put you on the spot and find out what role you played in regards to your people.
What solutions, especially the opposition members of parliament, will be coming out, especially with so much fingers being pointed at Jubilee.
I want to let you know that the solutions we have, of course, it can't be the solutions that Jubilee has.
What are they?
Jubilee has
We'll have to wind up. Thank you very much, Honorable Simba Arati, Member of Parliament for Dagoretti North, and Ambrose Weda, who's a lawyer, for joining us this morning on The Way It Is. And for all of you who participated via Twitter or calls or even just watching, thank you so very much. We'll take a short break, but we'll be right back. Morning Express continues right here.